In this particular programme, we get a chance not only to do the big finale with the 1812 Overture, but with the piano concerto and the violin concerto in one programme. That I'm very pleased about. And we've also got the Polonaise from Onegin and the Swan Lake Suite and the Sleeping Beauty Waltz, so you get a good range of Tchaikovsky's music.
Quite a programme. The Tchaikovsky Gala at the Bridgewater Hall in Manchester on September the 16th not only celebrates the music, but also the orchestra. The Manchester Concert Orchestra is marking a special birthday. It was set up by Raymond Gubby 20 years ago.
I formed this orchestra using Manchester-based players when the Bridgewater Hall opened, really replicating what I do in London with the London Concert Orchestra, and it's worked incredibly well because there are a fantastic group of players there that we can draw on and use them for concerts and for ballet and for opera, and they really are wonderful, and I'm really delighted that that relationship goes from strength to strength.
The Bridgewater Hall opened up so much scope for Manchester, didn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, Manchester had, of course, the Free Trade Hall before that, which was a wonderful hall. I was very proud to have presented concerts there, but the Bridgewater Hall is a really state-of-the-art hall, which is a great place to be, and I love going there.
One of the joys of this concert is that you've got the two big concertos, the Piano Concerto No. 1 and also the Violin Concerto. I imagine that they're not heard together that often.
No, it used to be a convention years ago to do that, but in the last, I don't know how many years, that has stopped. So I'm very pleased to bring it back for these, very special occasion to be celebrating the gala and to have both the concertos in the same programme because they're wonderful concertos. And we've got wonderful young artists, Alexandra Dariescu and David Juritz, playing, and I think they will give really good performances. Looking forward to that.
Alexandra Dariescu, who made her Carnegie Hall debut in New York earlier this year, will perform the impressive Piano Concerto No. 1 in B-flat.
I think it's probably one of the most exciting concertos that's ever been written, and I think that opening is certainly something that makes the audience thrill, and it's just so exciting for the performer, for the orchestra and for the audience as well. I think it's just going to be a wonderful opportunity, isn't it?
But it wasn't a hit straight away.
At the beginning, when he first introduced the piece to Anton Rubinstein, he hated it. And he was told that only about 2 or 3 pages should be saved and the rest should be bin, it's all rubbish, it's vulgar. And Tchaikovsky really stood by his beliefs and he was confident in the concerto and he said, I will not change a note. The only thing that he did change was the dedicatee. Instead of Rubinstein, he dedicated it to Hans von Bülow.
Which seems only fair. But it wasn't just the concerto. It's incredible to think that that same year, Swan Lake was premiered and was panned by the critics. And now, 130 years later, they're both still going strong.
Yes, it is incredible to think that, but I mean, this is something that happened quite often. I mean, Carmen was also a flop when it was first performed and has gone on to be perhaps the most popular opera ever written. So Swan Lake, it is hard to imagine when you see a production of that now why it should have been so difficult at the first performance. And likewise, the Piano Concerto, which is one of the really great piano concertos and has such a profound and deep impact, it's hard to imagine that that would not have been like that on the first occasion.
What's the highlight in this programme for you?
Well, I think the concertos are wonderful and they move you. But Tchaikovsky, he gives, tunes all the time, doesn't he? Everything he does. And so even though I might have heard the 1812 Overture very many times, there still is something very special about it. And also, I think when you look at the context, because it was written by a Russian to look back and celebrate the defeat of the French in 1812, and in some ways foreshadows what happened 50 years later after he wrote it, with Germany trying to invade Russia, and the very strong Russian will to hold off the invaders was repeated. You can't get away from that deep emotion that comes through it.
Raymond Gubby and Alexandra Dariescu. I'm Jane Markham, and this is a podcast production for Raymond Gubby.